Join the Camino.
Good day, world. It's day 41, and I'm Joe. As always, training to run 100 kilometers on July 1st. Along the way, I want to teach you guys about ways you can prevent type 3 diabetes, more commonly known as Alzheimer's disease. The entire mission about Mindful Diabetes Incorporated centers around education and prevention of type 3 diabetes. I'm still dumbfounded that Croc makes shoes for running, and they're not terribly uncomfortable. They're kind of stylish, so I think Croc should sponsor me. Today, we're going to talk about a paper that I'm getting ready to present for a class on Wednesday. This 2005 paper was one of the first to suggest a link between type 3 diabetes, a term they coined in the paper, and cognitive decline as a result of insulin signaling dysfunction. This paper investigated various levels of proteins, mRNA, and then did something called immunocytochemistry in order to analyze certain brain regions to see the distribution of the proteins in mRNA. They were looking at the distribution of insulin-like growth factors 1 and 2, as well as their associated receptors throughout various regions of the brain. And it was interesting because their actual models that they studied was using tissue derived from samples of human, as well as rat neurons. They cultured rat brains so that way they could actually see the brain's development and arrest it at stages to see just how vital insulin signaling is in the development of the brain. I'll give more details later this week on just exactly what the findings were, but by examining both the MAPK pathway and the PI3K kinase pathway, researchers were able to notice a dysfunction. They were then able to inversely correlate this dysfunction with levels of amyloid beta and phosphorylated tau. Their work and the details I'll share later this week laid the foundation for the hypothesis that Alzheimer's disease is a glucose metabolic dysfunction that happens. This hypothesis precedes the symptoms, meaning if we can correct the metabolic dysfunction, we can prevent Alzheimer's disease. Imagine how powerful that would be. Fix your glucose metabolism, no cognitive decline. Not just that, but it can also help with our current insulin levels. So to summarize the paper, albeit poorly, expression levels of insulin growth factor, and the receptors associated with these proteins are differentially expressed throughout different regions of the brain. For example, having the lowest expression at the frontal cortex and being expressed higher in deeper brain structures like the hypothalamus and hippocampus. These expression levels are extremely important, especially for insulin's function, and can be disrupted, which in turn can mess with clathrin-mediated vesicular endocytosis. That's a fucking buzzword for you. I'll explain that process later this week. If you've made it this far and are always looking for more, please connect with me on any social media. You can find me at Mindful Diabetes Incorporated, Inc. And lastly, the most important thing is to listen to your body. If you're sore, don't push it. There's always tomorrow. And as my good friend says,